Hey, what's up guys, June here. In today's video, we are going over the week of September 27th, 2021. This week, not too bad. The volatility has kicked up and the direction along with it has kicked up as well. The week prior to this, the market was kind of ranging, was deciding to move, and this week it has moved. Took two losers, took two good trades, at least in my observation, with a few mistrades or possible mistrades and lessons learned along the way. First trade was in the micro S&P. Took a, well, all right, so direction was down. I had a confirmed major, right? So this major swing, boom, confirms itself. This is the biggest swing, at least at the frame I'm looking at, which would be the 2000 tick, which is pretty large, but the volatility is large as well. And to compensate, the position sizing is smaller. Nevertheless, the market continued to go down and expand, and it expanded. And it expanded into this press. I noticed it from here. There was a possible mistrade. This was middle of the week. So I was looking at this action, and based on this press coming down, following the green, kind of small expansion based on the green, if you will, and kind of people collecting up, boom, gap, retest, it kept going. I was a little iffy on this trade anyways. I was like, do I take it? Do I not take it? So I don't beat myself up too much for that. Possibly a trade. Regardless, it did complete its swing functionality, or this it did complete the swing relative to this blue pivot or this blue swing. So it kept going, expanded, right? Expanded into the press, and it bounced off from this level again. And then I noticed it started to collect here as well. At this point in time, I'm thinking, well, we know there's people selling at this level. It happened originally here. Well, this press marked it like, okay, something significant. Came back to it. This price held, continued off of it, then expanded to it, reacted off of it. Anyways, pretty crystalline level. It poked out, came, boom, swap back in. Taking the short right here is a possible trade right after it swung, or it broke these pivots. This is an acceptable entry. However, was this? Yeah, I was not looking at the mark. Yeah, this is early in the morning actually. This would be maybe around 7 o'clock in the morning, maybe even 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm not looking at the charts at that point. However, it did give a chance for another entry, kind of based on this blue swing, somewhat of the OLB, return to this general area. And you know what? I'm good. So this could be considered like a short con. So let's say if you're playing for, well, actually no, a short con is when it actually breaks this entire structure and comes back to it. This was just a secondary entry, really. Floated, accept price, then or accepted for a bit. That went on. I thought it was cooked brown here. I was like, oh, this doesn't look good. Not too bad. Came all the way back up. This was the next day? No, same day. Noon, V'd again. And when it came back down here, I'm like, oh, okay, there we go. It's ready to go. And psych, stopped me out. Well, what can we learn from this? Right over here, I have kind of what I mapped out after the fact. Once this trade got stopped out and I was following it the next day, I went ahead and just sketched out these blue swings. I was just looking at it. Did I have this channel up? I might have had the channel up. I definitely did not have these horizontal price levels drawn how I did. I had the bottom one drawn, but apart from that, I was just watching the market, not participating in it, and I was seeing or observing rather, a kind of a quiet trend higher high. However, one thing to note, because this is interesting, this action over here, haven't seen it in a bit. I think I've seen it before, but it's very odd. Regardless, what happened, just objectively speaking? We have higher highs, higher lows. Comes up here, okay, double top if you will, comes back, double bottom, comes back up here. So even when it reaches here, we have price holding this level, price holding this level, price holding this level, and price holding that level. So range bound question mark. Although my hypothesis or my observation was perhaps a kind of a quiet trend upwards, it started to drift sideways, right? Started to go like this. What does that mean? Well, that means the 2D or the horizontal action took over. And what happened here? It got washed. Very similar action. Look, sharp kind of press out, not press, but sharp impulse out of it. Now, relative to this structure itself, it's not a super strong impulse. If it came all the way up here, then like, okay, strong impulse out of it, could trade the backside. But instead, it kind of more or less poked these guys out, came back, retested. See, over here, strong, okay, it collected a bit before leaving, but same thing, look, comes up, bounce, tries again, sharp down, comes back up, and keeps going. What this is called is a second chance to enter, or second time's the charm. Haven't considered this type of idea in a while. Usually I like taking the trade, doesn't work out, walk away from it, then redraw the chart until it makes sense. In terms of stop, because it's a big stop to capture the entire pivot, the only way to capture the move is you're playing from the CIB pivot. I guess you can say this is the CIB pivot. In terms of washes, I like buying the entire structure or the entire wash because that's the kind of the absolute high, at least how I see it. Perhaps there's something to be said about the second time as a charm. And in terms of, let's say, risk to reward, I think the risk to reward was there, except the stop was too small, or my max stop for this market is right around 45. I believe it's 48. If I had to draw this out, I mean, you're probably getting for sure about 3-1 already. So in terms of risk reward, like just raw, not even considering the absolute value, I'd say the trade was there. So see, we're going into about 3.5-1, buying the entire structure. Is this enough noise to capture it? Not too sure. In terms of second time's the charm philosophy, perhaps there's something to be said about doing a more to the bone or closer to the bone stop. I'm not too sure. However, for now, my stop management stays the same for washes because look what happened here. Boom, it tried, continued. Although the CIB was the top. That's interesting as well. This quote unquote CIB pivot was directly from here. There wasn't any kind of immediate or in between swings, if you want to say it that way. Whereas over here, we have a little bloop, boom, this sent it. So again, continuing to look at this CIB pivot idea, perhaps this is a nuance when it comes to washes. Maybe it's something to do with the second time the charm. With that said, the market could come all the way back up here, kind of test these highs and continue. Is that to say washes work 100% like that? I don't know. But what we can say is that there was a little blip here and this sent back. This was the washing of this level. This pivot commenced the right side entry. This confirmed the right side entry for the wash of this level. And it's with momentum, if that helps, but I don't really care. The time where I remember a few weeks ago, maybe even a month ago, I did note that against overall trend. So in terms of maybe V ideas, buying more structure is favorable. However, this is with momentum. So interesting. But in terms of washes, definitely structure to stop because it's specific. I'm not pushing off a press that's kind of not necessarily in the middle of nowhere. Like let's say if you're pushing this press left sided entry and your stop was, let's say, double the press size, you would have survived, but you're not putting your stop behind here, are you? Anyways, I don't want to get too into the weeds. And the following trade. So the market did continue. This is the expansion now. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. Look how nice. Look how nicely this channel kind of doubled out. Boom, captured. Oof, pretty good, pretty good. When it started expanding this, like when it started to crack this level, which would be, I don't know, 43, 45, yeah, 43, 45. Then I placed the channel on, I believe. I'm like, that'd be interesting if it comes all the way here. Came to retest. I was looking for a quick pullback. Never happened. In terms of secondary pivots, so this guy is related to this guy. Not much in terms of secondary entries. Poke, go. Not much. Maybe here, maybe, but that's so late at night. There was nothing here, and this is probably 2 o'clock. Yeah, 3 o'clock almost. Yeah, no, 1 o'clock. Still not even paying attention to. No, 3 o'clock. Never mind. Not paying attention to the market at this point. But it never gave right side entry, so no stress. Left side entry only. Right. So over here we have another MES micro S&P short. What happened? Confirm major. I was following these green swings. Okay, expansion. Yeah, it's interesting because I was just considering the expansion of the major, right? Expand a bit. Did anything break? Not much. Kind of scary. Like scary down, scary up. And it started to swing. There wasn't a hard swap or hard switch, but once this happened, I'm like, okay, now it's starting to swing lower and lower. The blue seemed a little close to the nail or to the bone, so I played off the gap instead and put my stop behind this minor. Did end up working out. It just kind of continued from here. What is there to say about this idea? I think that's about it. Didn't work out. Is it the best of ideas? Maybe, maybe not, but it fits the criteria. Expanding out a bit over time, maybe some nuance is going to show itself, but for now it's good. I didn't mark this bump gift. Did I mark it over here? Yeah, so what this bump gift is essentially some early buyers that are bumping the market, kind of trying to front run the idea of a reversal, and that's called a bump gift. Remember, until it actually turns the market, I consider it to continue with direction. So how do I know it turns, or where do I draw the line? Well, push, expansion, expand, continue, expand, reverse until it actually reverses, and I consider the market still to the upside. Now over here it did drift, so that's the nuance of it. Yeah, it expanded, but then it reorganized the level. It just moved the level up a bit more. So it was over here, then the level moved up here. So the expansion could grow. Call that the slop of the expansion, if you will. The sliding parallel of the horizontal idea. Ooh, I like that. So the idea is, there's sliding parallels for the, what is this thing called? The median line, the Andrews pitchfork. And there's also sliding parallels for the, what is this called? The horizontal level. That's very interesting, because I remember as I was placing this pitchfork, I'm like, okay, I target about here. Seems about right. and lines up with the trade, going. I did have a sliding parallel drawn just about right here, and it kind of disrespected the median line, so that's why I was like a little iffy on the sliding parallel. I'm like, okay, it's capturing it, then it's growing more, then it's growing more, then it's growing more. It's like, okay, after this point, I'm like, okay, I better go, or else I'm not necessarily overstaying my welcome, but getting cooked. So the comment would be, as 3D structure, or 3D, I'll just write, as median lines have sliding parallels, in brackets 3D, so can the horizontal, or so can horizontal structure have a sliding parallel. Ooh, I like that. That's a nice insight right there. As median lines have sliding parallels, 3D, so can horizontal structures have a sliding parallel. And then in brackets, of course, 2D. Wow, that's interesting, because I'm playing off a 2D structure right now. Not really 3D. 3D, I'm using 3D for the target, trying to capture the frequency. It seemed a little far, and I had the max 5-1. So there's that. And it didn't really capture these pivots all too well. Nevertheless, very interesting stuff. As for this trade, it didn't work out. Bump gift, swap switch. Maybe there could have been a long play, but I had my direction short, and that's it. People went long, they got their money. People went short, they lost. Unless they took out right there, but I didn't. Oh yeah, and as this gap swap happened, so gap bounces, gap swap, it's a little far. Gap swap, usually you want gap swap, comes here, bounces, boom, gap swap. It's a little far, but I still tried to play it. When it zoomed it, I was looking for maybe a knockback down here to play the long. Reason being, I was looking for kind of the quick momentum idea, so that's why I put momentum idea as well. So it's an expansion idea slash Momo idea. Momo ideas are relatively short-lived, and I was considering the continuation of expansion. So maybe this was going to be like a two-way pullback. In fact, I'm not too sure what the market has done. It did go higher. It might have went higher with more gusto than this swing, although this has a lot of gusto in it in itself. So it's going to be interesting to see how that shapes up next week. All right. This video is getting a little long, but we can just go over some of the other action I saw as well. Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. Let's see what this looks like. Ooh, yeah, so two-way pullback now. It's really starting to pull back hard. How is it in terms of... oh, yeah, look at that. So it wasn't even paying attention. So that could have been a pretty good level to play, or that's a possible good swing to play, specifically this one, and just saying, okay, this is a little minor expansion, no problem. If anything, I was pushing this swing. So very interesting. I wonder how how a pitchfork would look on that. Yeah, look at that. I was playing here, and I was playing the measured move, right? So I've been capturing it right here, a little far, a little winded. However, it is breaking. It would have broken quite a bit of structure. It's already been breaking structure. I'm like, crap, how far is it gonna go? Right. it could just be doing a two-wave pullback. 1, 2, although two-wave pullback, I like seeing kind of the initial kind of impressive move followed by a kind of slower move. That's usually how it's doing. It is kind of doing that, right? So you have this guy. It's a bit slower, but it's a little faster, or it's a little higher. Hard to say. I'm not going to draw any hard conclusions as of yet. For now, I still think the market is short overall. Seeing on the daily, what do we got here? We are starting to crack this guy. This is second swing back, so possible reversals happening. Second bar back is a theory where the expansion expands into the second previous swings, or in just previous swings in general. In terms of second wave pullback on the daily, if you want to now do some analysis on there, you have kind of this one, then this one, right? I'm not too sure that this pullback is done yet. It's going to be interesting to see maybe pockets of opportunity. I'm not going to try to kind of correlate too much into the daily. You know, if I see this in the daily K, I'm being a bit more cautious, but the volatility is pretty big. So there's going to be in between plays. In terms of the Russell, not much in the Russell. Kind of drifting along. There was a possible play if I had this framed a certain way. So it'd be framed like so. This would be a 3D idea, or a 3D wash, if you will. Right, so how exactly is that possible? Well, you connect these pivots and you're like, okay, a channel. Cool. Bring that channel lower. So you could say, well, overall, maybe the idea is down. It's pretty hard, the Russell, right now, in terms of just getting an overall context of the flow, like overall direction rather. Like, how do I know to trade or to short or to go long? Well, the Russell is in a mean reverting range, so you know it's gonna happen. Regardless, maybe there's a trade, maybe not. Like expansion. Notice how the market tried to not complete, but it tried to go with this frequency, this green swing. It failed, it expanded, kept drifting. If you had your short hat on, then maybe there was a short here, right? Boom, wash at this level, comes back down, retests, goes a bit further, re-expand it, right? Goes to target, kind of drifts out, not quite, comes back in. I'm sure this okay, that's interesting. Let's see if it's about the same. See? So kind of violates it a bit, right? Kind of not really. Just interesting to see the frequency playing out. Not necessarily that I would use, let's say if I was in the trade, right? I wouldn't use this to say, all right, I'm looking for a target here. No, I would say if I was short, which for me, I wouldn't be short there, but, or I wasn't short and I wasn't too sure about this. I didn't even have it framed. I had it, did I have the horizontal? I think I had the horizontal. Regardless, I wouldn't have been short, but if I was, I just look for a target right here. That's it. I'm not going to kind of, all right, well, I'm using this to dictate that, at least for this idea. The Russell's a mean reverting market. You know, you want to be nice and quick with your exits. Regardless, this is where the market is. Let's go a bit more fast. The oil's actually kind of working nicely. I'm just looking, just considering the tick charts, because I've been looking at minute charts and oil does not make sense on minute charts, at least for my eyes. This would probably be, well, this is CFD of oil, probably be analogous to a 500 tick, maybe. However, the volatility is up, so my 500 tick guess is based on several months ago. So this is perhaps maybe even a 700 tick oil chart on the full crude oil contract in the CME. All right, so it's going up, boom, boom, watch this level, failed to come back, no stress, keeps on going, keeps on going. Kind of the one line balance at play with a press structure, some breaks I'm falling to. Oh, not too bad, not too bad. I believe I went over this, right? Where I'm just doubling out. So actually the stop would be more or less here. Doubling out the press structure for the stop. I don't remember if I went over that action, but there's that. In terms of other structures, oh yeah, look, gap swap. Right, so this, I always have a hard time taking these trades when it just breaks the structure, not by much, comes back to it. I tried to do it on the yes, didn't work out. So I'm getting exposure to it, that's for sure. The idea behind here would be, okay, it's going down maybe. Well, maybe. Boom. Oil is one of those markets, and like, hey. Right. Let's just, okay, swing. Oh, whoops, let me just turn off the cursor. Okay, so swing, swing, swing. Ooh, tries. It even washes this level. This could have been a good trade as well. A bit more further than I would like it, probably. It doesn't quite, it breaks that though, so that's nice. So that could have been a play right there, looking for the CIB. Oh yeah, I'd say that maybe, you know, you're watching this watching this, yeah, major. You can even say it happened here as well, right? It's going, popped. In this case, the CIB is all the way down here, so you would have to buy the entire structure, like so. Interesting, interesting. What about that? Huh. Cool. Regardless, this would have been a stop out, no stress, no stress, and it goes down. So the expansion happened and failed, market going down. So that could be the rationale. Okay, we're looking short. Who cares? On the left, they can deal with it. And over here we got this. Okay, it's going. Boom. Okay, there's some there. Well, realistically, it'd probably be like that. Yeah, realistically, it would be like this. I'm not gonna, yeah, I could cherry pick over here, but I'd be drawing it like that. Capture it, capture the tails. Boom, gap, swap. In terms of pushing the gap, all right, let's double this out. Maybe your entry's here. You're like, okay, double it, and then like, okay, well, there's a pivot right here. Might as well buy the pivot. Perhaps you're a bit more in tune. Maybe you're in tune with the gap right there. That's possible as well. Perhaps taking this guy, although the absolute swing, this is something I'm learning over time, where taking the absolute swing, especially when it breaks, or let me rephrase, we do have a possible projected swing here. However, this is the hard level that broke. It's like the entire swap level. So perhaps you're playing more to here. So you're like, okay, well, based on this swing, it's a little early, or it's a little premature to buy it in terms of timing right here. So perhaps, all right, well, the absolutes, guys, right here, the swaps here. All right, split the difference. Bam. And you're like, okay, stop. Well, I want to stop here. Let's put it up here. Or then at that point, you'd probably think, well, how about the swing? Now let's do that. It's really hard to have a super super concrete way to trade every single time. It just doesn't work. You just take your chances. Some work, some don't. Right, so gap swap extends. That is short-lived. Take your money. And then what would be the analysis over here? Maybe like this. All right, it's going, bam, expanding. Okay. Well, what does that mean? Well, you know what? One two-wave pullback. However, the second pullback is just as strong as the first one. So you're like, all right, fine. Let's just draw this. See what happens. Okay, okay. You're like, ooh, it's getting juicy. Ooh, it goes down. All right. Now what? Backside here? That's what I'd be thinking. Or expansion, expansion, continuation. All right, let's look for shorts. Doesn't quite unstick from here. This would be a case of using, you can use this, right? You can use this. Maybe the trade, look, boo boo boo, collection, left side entry, not necessarily gap swap. Remember, it's actually the exact same pretty much, eh? Okay, so to not be a hypocrite, well, this made a pretty significant lower low. See, that's nuance. Look, it made a huge lower low. This just kind of pit squeaked out of it. Did this already make the move? I don't know. Regardless, if I'm looking to trade and looking to go short, this didn't unstick. Not enough spacing. Even here, the spacing is a little rough. So the only maybe possible trade is would be a right side entry. My apologies. A left side entry. Boom, boom. That's a big stop for oil. Boom. Went up. All right. What's happening? Boom, boom. Two relative swings. Oh, there's a press structure. Question, engulfing press? What's an engulfing? Well, engulfing is the one that expands a bit lower, but this could be a press. It didn't explode, but they're two relative swings, which are interesting to see. Let's just see what happens. Okay, people are buying it. People are buying it. People are buying it. Okay, then, okay, something's happening here. What's going to happen? Comes back down. You're like, okay, do I sell this? Maybe. But then you're looking, well, what happened? The pivot that made the new low, CIB pivot, just got taken out. And beyond this guy got taken out. You know, taken out a bit. But if your stop was hiding, well, okay, I don't want to go super high in frame because it's not going to really work out. Well, a V, possibly. Two-wave pullback, pulls. Ooh, swap, buy, and here we are. Boom, two-wave pullback, press swap. I didn't mark a dummy trade right here, like so, at the market open. Was this October 1st? Yeah, I did that. And here it is currently. In terms of possible targets, this would be more of a V idea, of course. V idea being, well, it V'd, it had some orderly selling, orderly buying in the form of miners. Expansion of the miners, go, panic, scare. Okay, we're scaring, collecting. Pop on the other side, CIB, continue with the long idea. In terms of UML analysis, using the mod shift, boom, captures it nicely. I didn't even have this on at the time when I decided to take this dummy trade. I didn't take dummy trade, I just put risk reward tool before just to see what would happen. Connects back to it, 3-1, possible. Could you take it a bit higher? Yeah. Are you overstaying your welcome? Maybe. Right. I'm not gonna go over everything else unless there's something I'm looking. Soy was interesting. Spotted this channel, And at that point, I'm looking, all right, let's look for a CIB. I drew the line at that point. I'm like, is that enough? Is that enough of a swap? I'm learning with these, what were these commodities? Yeah, commodities. So soy, wheat, these markets are sticky. So don't look for the clean slices through price. I mean, look, slice, that's just crazy volatility. It might even be the CFDs. I'm not too sure. But slices doesn't happen much. You want to tune into the white spaces a lot more in these sticky markets. Because look, it's swinging. It is swinging. And it's going to be sticky no matter what. So you really have to focus on the white spaces, having a much kind of softer eye to the market, right? Look, swings, 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 bam. What would that be? I would draw it something like that, right? Boom, expanding, possible CIB. In terms of entries, since these markets are very sticky, it's hard to even try to speculate on an entry. Could you tune into the one line balance and sell off there? Where would your stop be? This is kind of channel training. You're just pushing it. Stop behind here. Seems large. Oops. Just check my phone. Okay, nothing. Do I take the entire stop? Possibly. This is where the entire stop would land. Not too bad, not too bad. But what about the CIB pivot? This would kind of be the CIB pivot. All right, stop behind here. Whacked. It goes directly to target. Gnarly. Gnarly. Of course, there's N gas, natural gas. Might start looking this on a tick chart as, my God, it's a lot of volatility. I think natural gas, stay away from it. Like I thought oil was pretty nasty. Well, this is kind of orderly. It's gap swap, gap retest, remember? We'll see if there's a second wave pullback. For now, it seems like over here, they're stepping up. You could say 1-2 wave pullback. Let me just clear this out. See, 1-2 wave pullback. Let's see what happens. But this is a much bigger swings. I don't really know. Throw this on a tick chart. Not too sure. I don't have tick data. Never mind. For natural gas, and I do not have my connections on right now, so I'll just leave this on a 15-minute. Of course, I lost the rest of the feed. No stress about that. This is bonds, 10-year bonds. I don't know. Bonds are really blocky. I'm good with wheat. Gold, possible trade there, but again, meh. Gold is okay. I'm not the biggest fan of it. Maybe I'm just looking at too large of a picture. You know, let's throw in a 400 tick. That way I'm limiting my frame. Whoops, banged the mic there. Okay, so I'm like, all right, let's go short. Going short. You're like, okay, bang. This would be an example of a 2-wave pullback. 1 wave, 2-wave pullback. Kind of stretches these guys, right? Just looking at it, right? So what would be the distinctual evidence for a possible level? Well, gap slide. So we have our friend the press. So this is a true form of a press, when it starts kind of sliding and then it just goes for the rip. There you go. Would have to be front running this or tuning into more this guy. Maybe something like that even. Regardless, came back and went down. See, would I be ballsy enough to take this trade? Probably not, because this is kind of the CIB pivot. Yeah, there's a gap here. I mean, if you wanted to, you could say gap swap, look gap swap, enter. This would have to be the entire structure due to the nature of it being, there's no like CIB in between. Okay, gap, not really, but this is a bit more relative to the frame that we're playing. So it's pretty hard. What about, yeah, it would be right here. That's the entry. That's the stop. Does it go down to target? Oof, just barely. So that's the problem with this trade. You would really have to back it up. Could you say it broke this? Not relative wise. I mean, of course, it did swing on that level, but it's a pretty hard trade to take. Finding gold, yeah, and it moves, but you need some balls. All right. Look, that's pretty good. Look, bounces off of it. Boom, comes out for one last gusto event. And of course, the one line or the warning line captures it pretty much perfectly. Kind of a last kind of effort. That reminds me, one line balance. No, wrong framework. Median lines with the warning line. When it's with trend, it's describing a possible expansion, right? You're projecting the sliding parallel. That's what the warning line is. It's a projection of the sliding parallel framework or theory. Whereas when you have it here, would it describe kind of the last kind of trying to push the market, one last gusto? Because then it almost turned. Look, it came back to test kind of this level, right? And it turned from here. I don't know. I'm just gonna keep that marinating in my head. I'm not gonna write anything down for now. But interesting, right? Could just be gold. Nick picking one scenario. So I'm just gonna go over this over time and see what happens. What else can we draw? All right, there's definitely something like here. Okay, yeah, there you go. You're seeing it. Look, these guys are going, driving up. Would this be the guy? This one's, in terms of washing, it's hard to say. I wouldn't know if I would take this trade. Probably not. It's possibly there, but okay, well, possibly there. I don't know what I would draw. Functionally, look, this is the wash. It zoomed in, boom. By that bar, I'm like, it's washing the level. But I do check to see if it broke kind of something to the left. It technically did. You could say that this pivot really started. I don't know. Still, if I take would be the ES. So what's the difference then? Difference would be, because remember, I did claim or at least say, well, to say it, you are claiming the fact or claiming so. I said right after this, boom, washing the level. Yeah, you know what? Maybe perhaps I misspoken to say that this pivot, you're good to go. At that point, I'm more ready to go because it took out what went up, right? There was not really any pivots in between. These are really the pivots you're looking at to take the short. It went a bit lower. And then over here, man, trading's hard. This would be the level. See, this is a little interesting too because there's not much play. It's just going bang, 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 boom. You could say this one. This was the pivot. This was the buyers. Yeah, I guess that would have to be it. Or perhaps this is an edge case scenario where when it's really consolidating, not even making, some minor consolidation episodes. Whoops. Minor consolidation episodes at the top and bottom. Who that, a break of here of this pivot is more important. All right, well, maybe. I don't know. I'm just gonna marinate on it. I'm not gonna marry the idea. It broke. Went on. Okay, so it's making a bit more sense at least. Entries, but it is making a bit more sense on. Okay, well this one's like, okay, we're going higher. Boom. Gap retest. Let's see. Ooh, this is gonna be interesting. What's the idea? Well, that's the idea. It is a momentum trade and a half. See, it's eating stuff up. It's probably coming for these guys. Regardless, it'd be interesting. So that would be the trade I'd take. But I say that now, but of course that could change, like everything else. But that seems about right? I mean, this is very sharp though. That's the only problem I have with this trade. It is a very sharp. I mean, it's borderline contained because it's not one move. And we had a lot of people selling. This is one of these trades you would have to close your eyes and take. And you're like, boom. Wow, it's going to be interesting to see if this plays out or not. Very interesting. I imagine, I don't know, my bet it's not, but we'll see what happens. Would I even right side entry it? I guess in right here. No, not really. I just play for that. Like, this doesn't add anything. You could say engulfing press if you wanted to, but I'm not. Wait a sec. Okay, so that's the idea for the long. What about the gap retest idea? Gap, people fishing for the short, got swapped. All right, I'm pushing the market. Well, what about the idea? See, it doesn't really have. Yeah, it hasn't built up enough structure to take the short idea, at least not yet. Because, yeah, it can go like this and go like that. I wouldn't say that's possible. I would have to see. If this makes a new high, right, relative to this structure, relative to this one, not very much of a new high. Boom, boom. That's the gap retest that I want to see. Boom, you classify it. Classify it on that if you wanted to. Swap. Oh yeah, that could be good. So we have the long play for a momentum idea, and the short play for this is like more of the gap retest idea in terms of targets somewhere down here. All right, so we have this basically sketched out in terms of the trades that I'd be looking for. Could do something completely different and likely will do something completely different. Okay, so that's oil. We're probably reaching an hour, if not past an hour. Let's look at these markets. Of course, these guys keep removing my lines. Hello. Oh, whoops, I'm pressing the Windows button. There we go. And we have the gap swap. All right, it's still holding the gap swap. It's having trouble. It could be drifting out, right? We do have some slop, right? Look at that. It's holding the slop. Okay, it's holding it. The sliding parallel. It's holding it. It's holding it. Oh, that's a nice comment, or at least to remind myself. If I pull up the, can I even pull up? No. Whoops. Control R. It's fine. The comment would be, and I did mention this maybe 15 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago, that the sliding parallel is, let me rephrase, the warning line is a projected sliding parallel. Should I specify that? I'll write it down in post because I can't reach it. I'm in full screen. So I'll write that down. So sliding parallel or warning line analogous. No, analogous. Analogous. Jeez, I don't know how to spell that. Anyways, the warning line is akin to the sliding parallel insofar it is trying to project the slop. So warning line is akin to the sliding parallel insofar it is trying to project the slop, insofar as it's trying to project the slop. I like that. I like that a lot. And if you really want to nitpick, you can very well say, well, this is the 50% of this guy, if you wanted to. But I am not. So still going strong. Odd CAD. It's just nothing but shorts. Pick a short, close your eyes. In terms of entries, fuck, I don't know. It's really short the projection, stop behind the structure. That's it. That's all. USD CAD. No. Euro CAD. It's just going down. Don't really have much. USD yen. I don't have much. Oh, I'm a 60-minute. That's why. Like, I don't have much data on that. Let's slap on a 15-minute. Crap. You could just been on a 15-minute just trading this, right? Look at that. That's what sticks out to me. Whatever the hell these are, who cares? Boom, bam. Fuck, I gotta get in on this, man. Boom, boom, boom. Ah, oh, such a shame. No retest. But that would be it right there. Maybe, I don't know. Actually, never mind. I'm just nitpicking. Forget what I said. I'm just nitpicking. Boom. In terms of expectations, well, look, it grew a bit. Even grew a bit more. Went all the way over here. Grew. Ooh, jeez. Grew. Expansion. Alright, we're going down. We have a lot of distance to cover. It might just be doing a much bigger swing like this. Notice this is a gap slide. Of course, it starts happening at the projected swing because it does. I don't really have any rhyme or reason. Continue going back, gap swap, start sliding at. So I don't know, but interesting. What do we look here? We have the pound yen. Not much. I don't know. I'm getting stuffy here. I'm talking for a long time and getting stuffy as hell. If you can tell. As some may have noticed, this is my first video on the new channel. I'm starting to branch out a bit. I'm trying to make the blog more public, if you will. And I'm going to just try that out, see what happens. I'll post the previous 2 weeks on, but this will be the first video. Not expecting much, but the more people, the merrier. Okay, gap. Okay. All right, Euro USD looking interesting. We have a gap. We have a bit of sliding. It's having a hard time. Is this it? Ooh. Pop it. Boom, bam, bam. Something like that. Fill in the gap. Ooh, could be fill in the gap idea. Or you could be like, well, look what it's doing. Bam, bam, bam. Because look, it did it here. Look, gap. So that's something to note. Yeah, so maybe that's not necessarily the best idea. Because it gapped. Gap slide. Oh, this is a little different because it's trapping it. It's trapping some sellers. Ooh, I don't know. Maybe not. Odd USD. Wasn't I just on that? No, I was on odd CAD. Odd. So the dollar USD. Okay, I think I called this the odd USD. Although it was the odd CAD. The Aussie dollar. This is the Aussie dollar. You know what, that kind of reminds me. What if I considered... Because wouldn't that be it? Look, gap. Yeah, but then gap filled. Boop, pop it. Retest. Yeah, it could have been some. Or filling this major gap. Fuck, that could have been... Nah, just... Like, I understand the idea, but there's this in between. That's the problem, right? There's gap retest idea, but this happened in between. This would be more of the 2-gap framework, which I haven't looked into in a while, but I'm good with the ones I have right now. Anyways, guys, that'll be it for this week. Long video, probably over an hour, not too sure. that will be it for this week, guys. I hope you enjoyed and welcome to the channel. Oh, and if you're new to the channel, check the description below, or new to the blog rather. Check the description below, in which I would post the link to the actual blog. It is oceantrading.xyz. Over there, you'll find my how long have I been doing this, or at least posting kind of a recap style. Probably since last September, so over a year. So I have roughly over a year of charts. You can see my progress. You can see the results. I post pretty much everything. There's a slight kind of area that I haven't been posting because I was moving and I still have to post those. I'm just going to post the charts. I'm not going to do a video on it because it's so long ago. There's no point looking over them. But I am going to still post them eventually. I try to get these videos out every week as I can. Generally, I'd be posting these on the Sunday, possibly the Monday. Sometimes they're just gonna backlog, and I'm gonna do 2 videos in a week. That happens as well. If you have any questions, let me know. Link in the bio, or link in the bio. Send me a comment, or go on the website. My email is there. Send me an email, no problem. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed. Till next time, adios.